gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. This is our reorganizational meeting for 2016. And before we get started, I'm going to ask Councilman Schneider to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would everybody please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you please remain standing for a moment of silence and reflect upon the sacrifices that our military men and women, families and loved ones back home are making, as well as the servicemen and women who are overseas, protecting our freedoms both foreign and domestic. And as well, please keep in mind with the terrorism that's taking place worldwide that it's also our first responders who are protecting us daily, even more than they have previously. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, once again, this is our annual organizational meeting for the town of Carmel. And at 6:30 p.m. this evening, the town board met in executive session with Police Chief Mike Kazari to discuss a personnel matter. For the record, all town board members are present with us this evening, as is our town clerk, Ann Spofford. All the way down to my right and all the way down to my left is our town council, Greg Fulchetti. In attendance tonight at our organizational meeting is our Highway Superintendent, Mike Simone, Chief of Police, Mike Kazari, Jim Gilchrist, our Recreation Director, Mike Carnaz, our Building Inspector, Glenn Josie, the Town Assessor, and Marianne Maxwell, the Town Controller, is all joining us this evening. Thank you all for being here tonight, as we have members of the public here and the members of the Carmel PBA are here with us also. So, all right. It's a lengthy agenda this evening. There's 53 agenda items that we have to cover tonight, so I will be reading resolutions tonight as well, just so we can get through these. It's quite a few of them, so we're all going to take a turn reading them tonight as well. So, all right, let's get started. So the first item on the agenda, Councilman Schneider, would you read this? It's a resolution setting the seating order of the town board members.
Be it resolved that the town board members will be seated as follows, from left to right, facing the dais: Jonathan Schneider, Frank Lombardi, Kenneth Schmidt, John Lupinacci, and Suzanne McDonough. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor with this resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed. Thank you. All right, next resolution is a resolution setting the roll call voting order of the town board members. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this one?
Resolved that the roll call voting order of the town board should be as follows: Jonathan Schneider, John Lupinacci, Suzanne McDonough, Frank Lombardi, Kenny Schmidt. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 3, is a resolution establishing dates, time, and location of town board meetings. Resolved that all regular town board meetings of the town of Carmel shall be held on the first and third Wednesdays of each month, commencing Wednesday, January 20th, 2016, at the Carmel Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, at 7 p.m. And it further resolved that all work sessions of the town board of the town of Carmel shall be held on the second and fourth Wednesdays of each month, commencing Wednesday, January 13th, 2016, with the exception of the month of November, where the work session shall be held on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016, instead of Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016. And the month of December, when no meeting shall be held on the fourth Wednesday, all work sessions shall be held at the Carmel Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, at 7 p.m., with the exception of the work session meeting to be held on Wednesday, April 27th, 2016, at which to be held in the hamlet of Carmel at the Carmel Fire Department, Vink Drive, Carmel, New York, at 7 p.m. I offer the following resolution.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed. We're going to go on to number 4. Resolution number 4 is setting rules of order for town board meetings. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read this one?
Resolved that the rules of order for the town board shall be Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed. Let's move on to number 5. This is a resolution appointing police commissioners. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read this one?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby appoints all members of the town board to serve as the Board of Police Commissioners. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed. Next resolution, number 6, is a resolution designating the official newspaper of the town of Carmel. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel designates the Putnam County Courier and the Mahopac News as the official newspapers of the Town of Carmel for the year 2016, and be it further resolved that in those situations where the town is required by law to publish in a daily newspaper, the Journal News is hereby designated as the daily newspaper in which publication shall be made. I offer the resolution as read.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 7, is a resolution designating official depositories. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this one?
Resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby designates any commercial bank authorized to do business in the state of New York as an official depository for the Town of Carmel funds and investments, provided all deposits are properly categorized in accordance with New York State law, and hereby authorize the town supervisor to deposit funds in any authorized depository for fiscal year 2016 in order to obtain the maximum rate of interest on said deposits. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 8, is a resolution designating an insurance agent for the town of Carmel. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints the Spain Agency, 625 Route 6, Mahopac, New York, as insurance agents and brokers of record for the town of Carmel for the year 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 9, is a resolution authorizing petty cash funds for fiscal year 2016. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read this one?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the establishment of petty cash funds in the following departments at the following amounts for fiscal year 2016. Supervisor, 200, Receiver of Tax, 500, Justice Court, 200, Recreation, 200, Town Clerk, 200, Police Chief, 200, Building Maintenance, 100, Superintendent of Highways, 200. Offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none being opposed. Thank you. Next resolution, number 10, is a resolution setting the mileage rate for fiscal year 2016. Susie, would you read number 10?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby establishes the mileage reimbursement rate for 2016 at the IRS rate for 2016. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none opposed. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 11, is a resolution setting rates for the 2016 Highway Department temporary help. Councilman Schneider, would you read 11?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby sets the following rates for Highway Department temporary help for fiscal year 2016. Private plowers with a minimum 2500 series truck or 1-ton truck with a plow for $60 per hour, and drivers labor only in town trucks at $30 per hour. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
See the agenda.
Sign of yours. Second of yours. This one.
Okay,
I got it.
you got it? Okay. This was for the Highway Department? You seconded it? Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none opposed. Thank you. All right, next resolution, number 12, is a resolution designating council members as liaisons to special committees. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby designates the following town council members as liaisons for the following purposes. Councilman Frank Lombardi, liaison to the Police Department, Highway Department, Special Legal Counsel, other governmental agencies, including county, state, school districts, and libraries. Councilwoman McDonough, liaison to Planning Board, Recreation, All Lake Park District Advisory Boards, Lake Cassie, Secor, Tea Kettle, Spout, and Mahopac. Cable TV Advisory Board, other governmental agencies, including county, state, and school districts. Liaison to the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association. Councilman Lupinacci, liaison to the Carmel Police Department, Recreation, and All Lake Park District Advisory Boards, including Lake Cassie, Lake Secor, Lake Tea Kettle, Spout, and Lake Mahopac. Also, administrative boards to include Planning Board, Zoning, ECB, Ethics Board, and libraries. Councilman Schneider, liaison to Highway Department, administrative boards to include Zoning, ECB, and Ethics Board. liaison to the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association and other governmental agencies, including county, state, school districts, and the local chambers of commerce. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none opposed.
That's yours.
Thank you. Hmm?
You skipped me, but that's yours anyway.
Did I? Okay. 13? Why didn't you kick me and say, why are you reading my resolution?
Because you got the long
I'll
one.
save it
All
for
right,
another time.
13, I saved them from reading all the board appointments. Number 13, resolution acknowledging designation of deputy supervisor. Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the designation by Supervisor Schmidt of Councilman Frank Lombardi as deputy supervisor. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider and Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Thank you. Congratulations, Frank, for being named my deputy supervisor for 2016.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 14, is a resolution
Don't we need
appointing...
roll call for that one? Don't we need roll call for that? Okay.
Next resolution, number 14, is a resolution appointing the town controller. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read this one?
Resolved that the town board of town of Carmel hereby appoints Mary Ann Maxwell as town comptroller for a term ending December 31st, 2017, at a salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Congratulations, Mary Ann, for being named the Town of Carmel Town Controller for 2016 and hopefully beyond that. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Mary Ann. Okay, next resolution, number 15, is a resolution acknowledging appointment of confidential secretary to the town supervisor. And Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 15?
Sure, resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the appointment by Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt of Ann Pascarello as confidential secretary to the supervisor, effective January 1st, 2016, for a term ending December 31st, 2017, at the salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. With pleasure, thank you. And Ann, thank you so much for being my confidential assistant. Thank you for all that you do. I know you have a tremendous workload in the office, and you do a great job with that. And we all appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay, next resolution, number 16, is a resolution appointing the assistant to the town board. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby appoints Ann Pascarello as assistant to the town board effective January 1, 2016, for a term ending December 31, 2017, at the salary contained in the 2016 budget. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Once again, with pleasure. And same thing, Ann, continue the good work that you're doing, assisting the town board with town-related matters. They really appreciate it, and I know that you get a lot done, and there's a lot on your plate, and continue doing what you're doing. Thank you. Okay, next is number 17, is a resolution appointing the Registrar of Vital Statistics. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this one, please?
Resolved the town board of the town of Carmel hereby appoints Ann Spofford as town of Carmel registrar of vital statistics as of January 1, 2016, at the salary contained in this 2016 budget as adopted. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Thank you. Thank you, Ann. Okay, next is number 18. This is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of deputy town clerk. Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the appointment of town clerk Ann M. Spofford of Phyllis Borges as deputy town clerk at the salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 19, is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics. John, would you read number 19?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the appointment by Town Clerk Ann M. Spofford of Phyllis Borges as Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics at the salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 20, is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of Deputy Highway Superintendent. Susie, would you read number 20?
Shall resolve that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the appointment by Highway Superintendent Michael Simone of Robert Erickson as Deputy Highway Superintendent at the salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Bobby's not here, is he? No? Okay.
He's watching.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watching, but please congratulate Bobby first, Mike. He's doing a great job as well. Okay, next resolution, number 21, is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of the town historian. Councilman Schneider, would you read 21?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the reappointment by Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt of Mary McDonald as the Town of Carmel Town Historian. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none opposed. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 22, is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of the Deputy Receiver of Taxes. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 22?
Resolve the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the appointment by Receiver of Taxes Kathleen Kraus of Gary Kiernan as Receiver of Tax, Deputy Receiver of Taxes at a salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 23, is a resolution appointing the chairman to the Town of Carmel Planning Board. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints Harold Gary as chairman of the Town of Carmel Planning Board for the year 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Paper.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci and Lombardi. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 24, is a resolution appointing the vice chair to the Town of Carmel Planning Board. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 24?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby appoints Craig Paper as Vice Chair of the Town of Carmel Planning Board for the year 2016. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 25, is a resolution making an appointment to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals. Susie, would you read this, number 25?
Sure. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints John Maxwell to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals for a term commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2020. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 25, is a resolution making an appointment to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one?
Resolved that the Town Board, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints Silvio Balzano to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals for a term commencing January 1, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2020. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Is seconded by Councilman Lombardi and Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 27, is a resolution making an appointment to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 27?
Resolve the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby appoints Mark DiTomaso of the Town of Carmel to the Town of Carmel Board of Appeals for a term commencing January 1, 2016, and expiring December 31, 2020. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci and Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carried. And just for the benefit of the public, we just reappointed 3 members to the zoning board. So these gentlemen had been serving previously on the zoning board. Their terms expired, so they were just reappointed to new 5-year terms, each one of them. But they've been with us, serving on the boards previously. Okay, next resolution, number 28, is a resolution appointing a chairman to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints John Maxwell as chairman to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals for the year 2016. Offer the resolution is read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci and Lombardi. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. And John Maxwell has been serving as the chairman of the zoning board. This is just a reappointment to that position for fiscal year 2016. Okay, next resolution, number 29, is a resolution appointing the vice chair to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals.
Resolved that the Town Board, Town of Carmel hereby appoints Philip Angeletti as Vice Chair of the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals for the year 2016. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 30, is a resolution reappointing Town of Carmel Wetlands Inspector. Suzie, would you read number 30, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby reappoints David Klotzel as Wetlands Inspector for the year 2016 at the salary contained in the 2016 budget as adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. And Dave Klotzel has been our Wetlands Inspector for the past 8 years that I can recall, and I'm sure he's been here. How many? 20? 20 years.
More than 8.
Yeah, so he's been here for a long time. Just reappointing him once again, 2016. And he does a great job, by the way. All right, next resolution, number 31, is a resolution making an appointment to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board. Councilman Schneider, would you read 31?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints Edward Barnett to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board for a term commencing retroactive to June 14th, 2015, and expiring June 13th, 2018. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi and Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 32, is a resolution appointing chairman to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 32?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby appoints Robert Laga as Chairman of the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board for the year 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, 33, is a resolution appointing vice chairman to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints Anthony Dusovic as vice chairman to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board for the year 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, resolution number 34 is a resolution making an appointment to the Town of Carmel Board of Assessment and Review. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 34?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby appoints Robert Marini to the Town of Carmel Board of Assessment Review for the term commencing retroactive to December 1st, 2015, and expiring September 30th, 2020. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution is number 35, and that's a resolution setting salaries for fiscal year 2016 for certain officials of the town and for employees of the town not covered by a collective bargaining agreement. Susie, would you read 35?
Sure, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby sets the salaries for fiscal year 2016 for the following officials and employees of the town not covered under the terms of a collective bargaining agreement: Town Comptroller, Receiver of Taxes, Town Justices, Director of Parks and Recreation, Town Assessor, Deputy Town Clerk, Deputy Highway Superintendent, Deputy Receiver of Taxes, Confidential Secretary to the Supervisor, Assistant to the Town Board, at the amount set forth in the 2016 budget is adopted. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 36, is a resolution creating the position of senior account clerk in the Comptroller's office and making a probationary appointment for that position. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby creates the position of Senior Account Clerk in the Town of Carmel Comptroller's Office and hereby appoints Michelle Tenafrancia in a probationary basis to said position effective retroactive to January 1, 2016 at Group 5, Step 1, annual salary of $55,592.72, and subject to the provision of civil service law and the civil service rules and regulations. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci and Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried.
Like
And
Rosetta
Michelle
Stone.
is here with us tonight.
Got a Rosetta Stone.
Michelle Tenafrancia, who we just promoted to the position of senior account clerk. I just want to say that Michelle's been with us now for the past 4 years as an account clerk too in the Comptroller's office. And I was just speaking with Mary Ann. Mary Ann highly recommended this promotion for Michelle. She does a great job in the Comptroller's office. And I know that the day-to-day work that we do, that my office does with the Comptroller's office, they're very responsive. They collect data almost on a daily basis and provide that to the town board and myself, and they just do a fantastic job. And this is well-deserved from Michelle, this promotion to senior account clerk. So congratulations, Michelle. Michelle, best of luck in that title. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 37, is a resolution authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing. Frank, would you read 37?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes scheduling of a public hearing on the fire protection contracts and ambulance district contracts for the year 2016 to be held on the third day of February 2016 at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter that evening as possible. Said contracts to be advertised and posted as follows. Contract, three lists: contractor, service, and not to exceed amount. The contract, the first one is Mahopac Falls Volunteer Fire Department, Service Fire Protection District Number 1, amount not to exceed $753,460. Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, Fire Protection District Number 2, amount not to exceed $1.2 million. Carmel Fire District and Carmel Fire Department, Inc., Fire Protection District Number 3, not to exceed $530,000. Carmel Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Ambulance Services, Carmel Ambulance District Number 1, not to exceed $110,000. And North Salem Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Ambulance Services, Carmel Ambulance District Number 1, not to exceed $12,800. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to publish said notice of the public hearing in the official newspapers of the town and to post a notice of said hearing on the bulletin board of the town, and notices to be published and posted a minimum of 10 days prior to the public hearing. I offer the resolution as read.
Seconded.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider. Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 38, is a resolution accepting a proposal for planning consulting services. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of Patrick Cleary of Cleary Consulting of Northport, New York, for the provision of planning consulting services commencing immediately for an annual sum not to exceed $70,000. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates in form and content satisfactory to town council, Supervisor Ken Schmidt is authorized to execute a contract for said services and any other documentation necessary to accept the aforementioned proposal. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 39, is a resolution authorizing the signing of a contract for town council legal services. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read number 39?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the entry into contract with Gregory L. Falchetti of 1875 Route 6, Carmel, New York, 10512, for legal services, town council and counsel to the Town of Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals, and be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is authorized and designated to execute said contracts on behalf of the Town of Carmel in form as attached hereto and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, I second that. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes,
This is when
motion
we need
carried.
the crickets.
I want to thank Greg Falchetti, our excellent town council. He does a really superb job, and, we can call him anytime, day, night. He'll answer the phone, and he will give us excellent legal guidance for this town board, and it's a pleasure having Greg here. Greg has been with me since January of 2008, when I appointed him, my first town council, and, we continue to have Greg on board because he does a amazing job. So Greg, thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, I
Your new
appreciate the
contract.
opportunity again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to the board.
All right, next resolution, number 40, is a resolution authorizing signing of a contract for special district legal counsel. Suzie, would you read number 40?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the entry into a contract with Gregory L. Falchetti, 1875 Route 6, Carmel, New York, 10512, for legal services as special district counsel for the Town of Carmel sewer, water, and lighting districts. And be further resolved, the Town Supervisor, Kenneth Schmidt, is authorized to designate and designated to execute said contract on behalf of the Town of Carmel in form as attached hereto and made part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded.
Seconded by the rest of the board. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Once again, Greg, thank you for the excellent services you provide to the zoning board.
Appreciate it.
Special
Thank you very much.
districts, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 41, is a resolution authorizing the signing of a contract for special planning board and legal services. Councilman Schneider, would you read number 41?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the entry into a contract with Joseph A. Charbonneau of 3 Star Ridge Road in Brewster, New York, for legal services as special counsel to the Town of Carmel Planning Board, Environmental Conservation Board, and Ethics Board, and be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is authorized and designated to execute said contract on behalf of the Town of Carmel in form as attached hereto and made part hereof. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. And Joe Charbonneau's not here, but Joe Charbonneau's been doing providing excellent legal services to the town of Carmel as well. And I have no issues and support renewing his contract to continue providing those services to the town of Carmel. Okay, next resolution, number 42, is a resolution making appointments to the town of Carmel Lake Cassidy Park District Advisory Board. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this one?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby appoints the following residents to the Town of Carmel Lake Cassidy Park District Advisory Board for a term commencing retroactive to January 1, 2016, and expiring December 31, 2016. John Aquina, Amanda Gusak, Kim Kugler, William Siclari, Scott Sturban, Lourdes Valley, Mario Viskovich. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider. Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes.
Did you want me to wait?
Hmm?
Did you want me to
No,
wait?
it's all right.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Okay, motion passed 4 to Zero, because Councilman Schneider stepped out, so the motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 43, is a resolution making appointments to the Town of Carmel Lake Mahopac Park District Advisory Board. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints the following residents to the Town of Carmel Lake Mahopac Park District Advisory Board for a term commencing retroactive to January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2016. Edward A. Barnett, Jay Crawford, Martin Greenberg, Charles Langus, James Maxwell. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby appoints the following residents to the Town of Carmel Lake Mahopac Park District Sub-Advisory Committee for a term commencing retroactive to January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2016. William Frumpkin, Joseph Massaro, Sheila Margolis, John Maxwell, Bert Melchner, Mark Robertson, and William Spain. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider. Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Motion carries 4 yes and 1
Abstention.
abstention. Okay, next resolution is number 44, is a resolution authorizing attendance of officers and employees to attend the Association of Towns Conference. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read this?
Whereas the annual meeting and training school of the Associations of Town is to be held in New York, New York, from February 14th through the 16th, 2016, and whereas in the past, the information and training available at said meeting and the seminars conducted there have proved to be helpful to town officers and employees in the performance of their duties, and it is in the best interest of the Town of Carmel to have certain of its officers and employees attend such meetings and training schools. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the following officers and employees of the town to attend the Association of Town Conference in New York, New York, and that the reasonable and necessary expenses of said persons be reimbursed by the town upon audit and approval by the town comptroller to the extent reserved in the 2016 conference and seminar line of court budget. We have Joseph Spofford, Town Justice. We have Thomas Jacobellis, Town Justice. Patricia Jenna, Court Clerk. We have Francine Shemansky, Account Clerk. We have Marie Paparaki, Clerk to Justice, and Lisa Lacordaria, Clerk to Justice. Be it further resolved that the entire Town Board of the Town of Carmel is also authorized to attend the Associations of Towns Conference in New York, New York, and that their reasonable and necessary expenses be reimbursed by the town upon audit and approval by the Comptroller's Office. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded?
Seconded by Councilman Schneider and Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. All right, next resolution, number 45, is a resolution designating the Town of Carmel delegate at the 2016 Association of Towns Annual Business Session. Susie, would you read number 45?
Sure. Resolved that Councilman John Lupinacci is hereby designated as the voting delegate, and Councilwoman McDonough is hereby designated as the alternate voting delegate of the Town of Carmel to the 2016 Annual Business Session of the Association of Towns of the State of New York, to be held in New York City from February 14th through the 16th, 2016, and are hereby authorized to cast the vote of the Town of Carmel pursuant to Section 6 of Article 3 of the Constitution and bylaws of said association. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded?
All right, seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
We'll amend it.
We can amend the resolution. All right.
Okay.
Before the conference. Okay, next resolution, number 46, is a resolution adopting the Town of Carmel 2016 subject matter list and office retention schedule. Councilman Schneider, would you read this, please?
Resolved that upon the recommendation of Ann Spofford, Town Clerk, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby adopts the Town of Carmel 2016 subject matter list and record retention schedule as pre-filed with the Town Clerk. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 47, is a resolution authorizing the execution of member agreement endorsements with the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance. Frank, would you read number 47?
Resolve the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt to execute the member agreement endorsement formed with the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance in connection with the provision of workers' compensation insurance coverage to the Town of Carmel for 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
All right, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 47, aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Thank you. All right, number 48 is a resolution for review and renewal of the Town of Carmel procurement policy. Whereas Section 104B of the General Municipal Law requires the governing body of every municipality to annually review their official procurement policy for the purchase of goods and services which are not required by law to be publicly bid. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel deems that no revisions are necessary at this time, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby renews the procurement policy for which is attached hereto, made part hereof, and designates Town Controller's Office to distribute the policy to all department heads. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby designates the responsible purchasing agents and titles as set forth within the aforesaid policy. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Should we start on that
Yeah, that's coming off.
one? That'll come off.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, next resolution is number 49, and that's a resolution amended to establishing seasonal and temporary and part-time workers at wage rates for the Town of Carmel. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read number 49, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby sets the seasonal and temporary full-time workers' maximum wage rates for the following title, effective retroactive to January 1st, 2016. We have seasonal/temporary full-time workers, the position and/or title, and the title is seasonal and temporary, and it is based on their cumulative hours of services that they've been with the town. So their hourly wage rate based on cumulative hours of service, 0 to 500 hours, $12.50, 501 to 1,000 hours, $13.50, 1,001 hour to 1,500 hours is $14.50, and anything over 1,500 hours, the worker will receive $15.50. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi and Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 50, is a resolution setting the rates for the 2016 part-time temporary help for the Town of Carmel. Susie, would you read number 50?
Sure resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby sets the following rates for part-time temporary help in the following departments for fiscal year 2016, and these all commensurate with experience. Accounting is $13 an hour minimum, $20 an hour maximum. The police is $13 an hour minimum, $20 an hour maximum. The town clerk is $13 an hour minimum. The maximum is $20 per hour. Engineering is $13 an hour minimum. The maximum is $20 per hour. Recreation is $13 per hour minimum, and the maximum is $20 per hour. And planning is $13 minimum, and the maximum is $20 per hour. And I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 51, is a resolution making an appointment to the Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee. Councilman Schneider, would you read 51?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby reappoints Robert Buckley to the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee for a term retroactive to January 1, 2016, and expiring December 31, 2018. I offer the resolution as read.
Yes. There's second.
Yeah.
Yes, I second.
Seconded by the entire board. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. This is a reappointment for Mr. Buckley. He's been serving on the Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee for several years now, and he's doing an excellent job as well. He's actually the chairman of the Parks Advisory Committee. All right, next resolution, number 52, is making an appointment to the Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee as well. Frank, would you read number 52?
Resolve the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby reappoints Ken Ferran to the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee for a term retroactive to January 1, 2016, and expiring December 31, 2018. I offer the resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. And Mr. Ken Ferran, he's also been serving for many years on the Town of Carmel Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And I'd like to thank Mr. Ferran for all his volunteerism and services to the Town of Carmel. This committee does not receive any compensation, and they do an excellent job for our Parks and Recreation Department. Okay, this is resolution number 53, and this is the final resolution for this evening. Resolved, this is a resolution authorizing payment for professional services to the Town of Carmel and Town of Carmel Police Benevolent Association arbitration invoice. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes payment of the sum of $10,500 towards the invoice for professional services of J.M. Siegel dated November 23rd, 2015, with said services being rendered for the interest arbitration proceedings between the Town of Carmel and the Town of Carmel Police Benevolent Association. Said invoice is being attached here to made part of. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi and Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci.
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, as I said, that completes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board reorganizational meeting. We got through them pretty quickly. It's 8:05, and 53 resolutions. That's a pretty good time for that. So, at this time, I'm going to open up the floor to any of the agenda items that we just covered for any residents that want to come up, or anyone here in the meeting that want to come up and address the agenda items only at this time. Come on up to the podium. Okay, there being none, we're going to move on to the open forum, new business portion of the meeting. It's anything outside of the agenda items that we just covered. You must be a town resident, a property owner, or a business owner in the Town of Carmel to address the town board for new business. Anybody here for new business at all? Yes, sir? You could say new. Well, yeah, could just ask, come up to the podium.
Agenda tonight. That's what he,
Oh, okay.
that's what he was asking.
I'm baffled on the word "new." Can I talk to you about something that's going on?
Sir, I'm sorry, you could just state your...
Yeah, I
name
will
just for-
at that moment, okay, so I can?
Yes, you
Good
can.
evening, members of the board. My name is Jack Coxon. Barbara and I live at 137 Bullet Hole Road in the Mayapack sector of the town. Our 3 daughters and their families also live in Mayapack. Our 3 grandchildren live in Mayapack. And the family's 3 dogs and 2 cats all reside in Mayapack. This evening, I would like to address and contribute my thoughts and some expertise to the current discussion of the status of police services in the Town of Carmel. I had hoped that this discussion is really about what is required of any law enforcement agency to provide for the safety of the families of our town. The contribution of the expertise I offer you, I'm going to limit to the expectations of a citizen and a taxpayer, which I would identify as the underpinnings of the quality of our life of our citizens, what they expect, need, and demand. I believe that these are the essential services provided by government, especially local government, and they would be defined as police, fire, and sanitation. If the newspaper reports I've read reflect your words, your intent, and your meaning, this board has identified tax dollars being collected and credited to the county. This board then theorized that the town received no services for many of these tax dollars. Ironically, there's no political division in this country that could not have this same complaint. Village to town, town to county, county to state, and state to the federal. And this is not an American phenomenon. In fact, it's a world condition of taxation and services to its citizens. So I see in the papers that the board then began the construction of a strategy which they believe would address this imbalance of services provided by the county to the town. And if this imbalance could be addressed, but in the form of police services from the sheriff, this board believes, as I understand it, that they have fulfilled the fundamental obligation of the board to keep our citizens safe, and that you've accomplished that. I do not concur. What actually is developing, in my opinion, is the fragmentation of police services to the citizens of the town. In the county of Putnam, the premier police agency is the Carmel Police Department. The sheriff's complement of officers, when seen as providing police protection to all areas in the county who are without their own community police agency, falls short of the complement of the current Carmel Police Department. That said, we have allowed in our own community the police agency, the Carmel Police, to shrink over the recent budget cycles in the town. In accepting a sheriff's patrol for the east sector of the town, the board has in fact disenfranchised those citizens from the services that other citizens of the town receive from the police department of the town of Carmel. It prompts me to ask this: if the citizens of East Carmel convinces this board to reinstate the Carmel Police Patrols, will my neighborhood then fall under the jurisdiction of another police agency? What I find more troubling is that this discussion, which I can see, became public about a year ago in terms of your board actions. The town entered into agreements, loosely I'll use the word agreements, with the county to study options. If I recall correctly, newspaper articles reported that the citizens would be involved and that a town police department would not be abolished without a public referendum. Today, we have a study that has yet to be concluded, a board action to provide services from the agency outside of the town, which are yet to be proved and researched as viable, but they are already in place. I think this action falls short of a solution for the dilemma that faces us as citizens. We have a letter of intended commitments from the sheriff with conditions that he has unilaterally stated, which do not provide guarantees or a negotiated contract detailing specific human and financial resources that a safe community requires. And then I see that the state police, a high-ranking official identified in a comment in the paper, that they would be providing an extra car to aid the Carmel police car, and that they may even provide a dedicated car. It sounds like a free lunch. Frankly, the welfare of our citizens is not guaranteed by this agency. Our citizens pay taxes to this board, to this township, and to this board we rely on you to deliver the services for which we paid, and not substitute them with other services. A fragmented police department which is not under the immediate supervision and leadership by the Carmel police chief may serve the political moment and the political agenda, but the safety of our citizens in the town is not well served. Where is this road, paved with the good intention of this board, going?
Who wants to respond?
I will more than happy to respond. Sir, I'm sorry, your name again is?
It's Jack Coxon.
Okay. Let me start by, I didn't write down all your points, I apologize. But I can go through them as far as my memory goes. You pay taxes to the state of New York, sir?
Absolutely.
You pay taxes to the county of Putnam?
Yes, sir.
You pay taxes to the town of Carmel, sir?
Yes.
You do.
And federal as well.
And the federal as well. Well, unfortunately, the federal government is not here to help us and never has and probably never will. Do other municipalities in the town of Putnam, in the county of Putnam, receive police services from the county agency known as the Sheriff's Department?
In my reading of what the sheriff says, yes.
Well, if I was to tell you that the town of Patterson does not have its own police department,
Yes.
and the town of Putnam Valley does not have its own police department, that they are Do you believe that they don't have any police coverage at all?
Are you asking me if they have police coverage?
I am.
I
Do you
do
know
not,
that?
I don't know factually,
Okay,
but
I
I
will-
assume for I read, the sheriff provides
That's
them
correct.
some answer.
That's correct. So the town of Patterson, the town of Putnam Valley, and Southeast, second largest municipality in the town of, in the Putnam, and county of Putnam, all don't have their own police departments. They are provided coverage by the town, by the county.
Sheriff.
Right. So, let's just say, for example, that the town of Carmel residents pay about $7.5 million to the county government.
Total tax.
Just for police.
Just for sheriff services.
So let me understand. that.
Let me just go back.
Okay.
So the residents here in the town of Carmel, you and me and all of us, pay $7.5 million to the county, and that money goes directly to the sheriff's department. Okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Sheriff Services.
Sheriff services. So not only do we in town of Carmel pay $7.5 million, in addition to that, we pay an additional $9 million to the town of Carmel Police Department, which we have, and I don't know what you've read, and I don't know if you've ever come to a meeting before.
This is my first ever.
And you're more than welcome, please come every week. Not one of us has said that there's any dismantling of the police department. That, in fact, did you watch the budget meetings?
No, sir.
Okay, we are hiring 2 more police officers.
I heard that in your
Well, it's not
last
it's-
meeting.
Yeah, it's an accurate, it's in the budget. We are adding 2 new police cars that the chief asked for.
Yes.
We're giving them 2 cars. If we were taking apart the department, would we be adding equipment? Would we, no, I'm asking.
Would we?
Would we be adding equipment to a?
If I hold that,
Well, would we be hiring?
if I hold those comments that you just made
Yes.
regarding that,
Yeah.
I would have to answer, of course you are supporting. And while I didn't say it in my remarks, I edited them a bit. In some sense, I want to congratulate the board for looking beyond the box. I'm just not resolved in my
Well,
mind.
let me,
Okay,
if
so,
if I was.
but I want to know those resources, those 2
Sure.
officers, where are they working?
Yeah, well, there was a
Are
little
they
bit
going to
of.
work with the sheriff?
Yeah, can I answer you? Okay. So you had mentioned that the residents of the east side of town were being shortchanged by the,
I believe so.
well, I'm going to tell you, I believe you're incorrect in that assessment.
And that's-
Only because the arrangement that was created, it was that each month, the town is divided in 3 sectors according to the police department, right? So the sectors A, B, and C. Right now, Sector A is the Hamlet of Carmel. As you move westbound, B, and then C. So right now, for the month of January, Sector A is being served by the Sheriff's Department, in addition to the state police. And then in subsequent months, it goes from A, then to B, then B, then to C.
So next
So
month,
next
I may
month-
see the sheriff
Will
in my
see.
area.
Not you will see. In addition, if I was to tell you, on January 1st, you had more police services than you did on December 31st, did you see more services? If I told you that that was in fact accurate, that on January 1st,
Yes.
not only did you have Carmel police vehicles that did not change in numbers, but you actually had another sector car for the sheriff's department in Sector A. You also had a state police in Sector A. You had a sector car of Carmel Police Department in B, a Carmel Police Department in C, and in addition, you have what's being described as a detail car, according to the chief's directions as to what that car will do, but that car will be doing more than what was on the table before. So because of manpower changes with regard to people being sick, or we've had, some extended injuries, et cetera, there were some reductions in the extra details that this board, and all of us in particular, the Special Conditions Unit to fight to fight drugs, the Traffic Safety Unit to prevent accidents, to stop cars, drunk driving detail, that car is out as well. So as of today, sir, you have more police services than you did on December 31st. Am I right, everybody?
All right, let's assume that is correct.
Well, you can make an
I'm going to take you at your word. It's
Yeah,
correct.
I appreciate that. So,
But I do know that that's less today than you had about 5 or 7 years ago.
Well, I
And that,
can't-
whether it's in this board's life
I'm not
or
sure-
board
I'm-
cycle,
I'm actually-
that safety guy was not, he was not replaced or he
actually-
lost. Is that fair?
sir,
So
if
you had a safety officer that historically we had. We lost
Do you
him,
want
and
me
now
to
you're
answer the
bringing him back.
question, or do
No,
you
no,
want to
no,
debate?
I'm just
Yeah, I'm
adding-
trying to answer
right.
your question.
Okay.
As of January 1st, you actually had more police protection in numbers because of the sheriff's officers, because of state trooper protection here. And that's all we were ever trying to do, was to get our fair share of services.
Okay.
Just let me finish. From the county government.
Sure.
And it just so happened that the state, for whatever reason, the state troopers decided that they wanted to help us out because, like you said, we were thinking outside the box how we can provide additional services to the residents of Carmel, which I'm happy that we got more services. There's been no cuts. We didn't ask anybody to, and the chief can confirm with you if you'd like, not 1 hour of Carmel Police Department manpower has been changed. Not 1 hour of overtime have been changed. We have a car that is sitting on Miller Road getting detailed. We have 2 new cars that are being ordered. So, you know, I try to stay above the fray because I've negotiated many contracts in my professional career. I negotiate personal injury settlements. I've been a mediator and an arbitrator in small claims court, so I know the process pretty well. So I try to stay above the fray, but the fact of the matter is, we are getting more than we did just a week ago. And I guess we can ask everybody in the room, do you want more police services, or do you want less? Do you want, wait, hold on. Do you want your money to come back to the town of Carmel in terms of services from the county that we've talked about for many years, since I've been here, asking for more services from the county, more services from the county? There's an inequity with the other municipalities, Patterson, Southeast, Putnam Valley, that they don't have a police department. We choose to have a police department, and I've said it, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Me personally, and I know this board, supports the police department. There's no vision to reduce, demise, tear down. People can say what they want to say, but please just listen to the facts.
Okay.
And if the facts are that we're hiring more police, and that we're getting the chief all the equipment. Chief, I asked you today, have we ever turned you down for any equipment that you've asked for? And he told me no. And you know why? Because it's necessary for the protection of the people of the town of Carmel. We have given him everything that he's asked for in terms of equipment. We've provided more equipment. There was some more stuff. In fact, that's why we met with him tonight, because there was some more stuff that he looked into, that modern, newer technologies that we need. And we said, Chief, go out, get prices, and let's do it. So please, and I had a conversation today after there was some stuff in the paper with a former, who's a retired New York police officer, who basically said, you know, what's going on? So I said, well, did anybody tell you that we're hiring too? He said, no. I said, well, did anybody tell you we're getting more cars? And he said, no. I spoke to a friend in the East Fishkill Police Department, and he goes, hey, aren't you on the town board? I said, yeah. And he says, aren't you getting rid of your police department? I said, not that I know of, and that's not my intention. I said, by the way, I said, did anybody ever tell you that we're hiring more officers? He said, no, I didn't know that. I said, well, did anybody tell you that we're getting new cars? He said, no. So I said, do you still think that we're cutting down and reducing and gonna eliminate the police department? And he said, no.
Just Section A.
I'm sorry?
Just Section A is not getting a
I'm
police
sorry
department.
that you're
Does that-
incorrect. You're
well,
incorrect in
all right.
your assessment.
All
And
right.
let me just go. No, and I don't mean to belabor this with you, but.
You're being generous with your time, and I
appreciate that.
appreciate it.
And I'd love to have a conversation with you, because that's kind of, you can see I'm a trial attorney, and I can do this all day long if you like. Section A is not getting less services, they're actually getting more.
Do they have the culture of the Carmel Police Department? Does the
I don't-
officer
I don't know
report
what-
to the Carmel
I don't know what
sergeant?
you mean
Do-
by the culture of the police. Let me ask you a question.
Well, let me read you a little something
Yeah,
from
tell me-
Associated Press.
Okay.
Smart police chiefs understand their communities and all of the dynamics that exist.
That's right.
So that they can tailor what is learned from this particular police department that
Right.
the author's writing, as well as research to the local context. Now, this was Brenda Bond, who's the Associate Professor of Public Services
Right.
at Suffolk University in Massachusetts. She's a PhD that studies police performance around the country.
She's probably right, but let me ask you a question.
She and I are engaged in some email chatter right
That's
now.
terrific.
Because I intend on doing what I think is lacking here.
You can do what you like.
Right,
There's
right.
nothing
And
lacking here.
which I think that you promised us that you would do
Well,
as a
let me-
board.
let me-
And that is research and study, bring it to the public, see what's going on, let the public understand it. I do not favor a sheriff's department in the community. I believe that the Carmel Department is better situated, better motivated, better directed for this. There's phrases I could throw at you. One man does not serve two masters. He will hate the one and love the other. We can go back primitive times to times. Right now, the agenda here of this board, I would think, is to provide the police services, which I would think would be directed by professionals, and tell you, this is what you need to do here. As a matter of fact, that man, Sergeant Dan Ditkowski, said one of the things I found in my research is it didn't matter what it was. If you were consolidating purely for economics, but you were not gaining or you were losing services, then don't do it.
So
Here's what I would like to see. You got $8 million. I think there's a little.
we're going way over what we're supposed to, but
Okay,
let me just.
you appreciate-
No,
I
no, that's fine,
appreciate that.
and I appreciate.
There's another time.
Talking to you. No.
Yeah.
But again, what we did here with the sheriff's department.
Yep.
It's not, we're not consolidating anything. We're getting additional services. And there was one last point
But you're
that you made.
taking from
Oh,
me
let
the
just-
Carmel police that in my mind as a taxpayer, I don't know
Right.
if anyone else shares this, that's what I contributed to, the Carmel Police Department. I would think that there's not a police chief, a police officer, lieutenant, sergeant, detective, captain, commissioner that would have come up with this plan as a response. And if the sheriff really wants to help us, and I'm amazed that he has all of these resources lying around, open the door, we've got, like sort of, come and wait to be called on. What I'm saying to you, the sheriff doesn't have these people.
Well,
Police departments and police officers are not Yugos. You can't go down the street and find a
They're
Yugo
not-
and compare
they're
it to
not
a Honda.
Yugos?
They are comparative. Let me give you another Let's
just-
assume that
let
you
me-
and
let
I.
me- Let me just bring up one point, and I don't mean to be argumentative with you.
We're
having a
in
discussion.
disagreement,
Yeah,
so I
appreciate
understand it.
that.
Respectful
You
disagreement.
said that the culture, where does the sheriff's department, where is the sheriff's department stationed?
In Carmel, next to the high school, next to the jail.
Right. Do you think that they don't drive through there every single day? Since they're stationed there, do you not believe they know the characteristic neighborhoods,
If we're
streets?
talking geography,
No, sir, I'm not talking just geography. They live there, for lack of a better word, because that's where they're stationed. So you can't say, well, they don't know about, they police the whole county, for God's sake.
let's assume that we were an athletic team called the Yankees, and Derek Jeter retired. We would not call the Mets over in Queens and say, if you got somebody, we're going to get a Yankee. And that's how I look at it. The sheriff is the Mets, and that's great, but the Carmel police are the Yankees.
But your analogy is incorrect.
Why is it
Your
incorrect?
analogy is,
It doesn't
they're
serve.
not two
You'd rather get a rookie, that has never
no,
played in the major league
but-
versus
but
going
the
to get
fact
someone
and
else?
again, we can't, I don't want to go into this whole,
All
we
right.
can go on.
Can I answer,
The-
John? If he's
yeah, let
under
me
the
just fin- let me
direct
just-
supervision
Let me just finish.
and leadership of the Carmel
the-
police chief, which I believe that was where my taxes should primarily be going to support that agency, and
Can you
struggle with the
determine where
fiscals.
your taxes, so when you send in your bill in a couple of weeks, do you put on there my county taxes, I don't want it to go to the sheriff's department, I want it to go to X, Y, and Z? Because if you can do that, I'd love to know that I can do that too with my tax
You're a
dollars.
political body, sir. You're in legislation yourself.
That's correct.
This is a political and legislative issue. Has anyone called our state representatives and say, we shouldn't be giving the sheriff 8.7 because we don't need that from the sheriff? We need 4.3 for our
Sir,
own job.
sir, I don't control, that's
We
the,
can't ask the sheriff for that. That would be the county
let
legislation.
let me,
but we
let me
can't
just
ask
go
the
back.
sheriff for that.
I can't,
It
I'm
would
giving
be-
you the credit for
it would
being
be
that
unfair
person.
to the sheriff
No,
to
no, no,
say
no, no, I don't, all I control is the tax dollars that come into the town of Carmel and how that money is spent. That's county money. You're paying county taxes to the county government. I don't have any say
Okay.
or vote or voice, other than any of us can go to a county meeting during budget time and say how they actually are spending their money. So I can't say, well, you shouldn't spend whatever their budget is, it is. I don't have any say in it, and I'm only one of 5 who has a say in the town of Carmel budget. Okay, so again, we can have this discussion, I guess, every week, but all I'm asking is, give it a chance. Now, you live on Bullet Hole. I live not too far away, right off Key Ora Boulevard. So all I'm saying is, give it a chance. I've actually seen, because I drove through town from one end to the other on Saturday and Sunday, and I saw a lot more police activity, which I like.
Which police activity?
Carmel Police.
Carmel police driving around.
No, not driving, not
Patrol.
just driving around, actually making stops because of the detail that the chief has given to them in terms
So
of,
the chief has these additional resources already in play.
that is 100% correct. And the chief he has pretty much an open door policy. You can call downstairs anytime. We talk almost on a daily basis. This is the right person to lead the department, and to make sure that the town
But he
of Carmel...
can't lead the sheriff, and he can't
Excuse me,
lead the
excuse-
state trooper who are dedicated to provide
Do
the
you think,
services to
are
us.
those people not doing the job that they're supposed to do in terms of
I'm su-
providing
I'm
safety to
suggesting
the
that they're
town
the Mets
residents?
and we're the Yankees.
Sir,
That's
if you were to
that's-
call
that's-
911 because your house was broken into by an armed robber, would you say, no, hold on. Is it Carmel coming or is it the sheriff coming? Hold on. Is it the state coming? I don't want him there. Wait, you wait with your gun. I want Carmel Police. Or do you say 911, I need an officer here? Which one do you say? Or do you say I need a Yankee or a Met? Which one do you say when your house is being broken into and someone's at your door?
All right,
Which one do you say? Do you call 911 or do you say, hold on?
I would take an
628
auxiliary
1300,
policeman
no,
if
I
he could
want you guys to
kickstart
come.
my heart.
Which one?
I would take an auxiliary policeman. I would take a fireman to
you would
take
kickstart my
anybody you
heart.
could
That
as
is
a
correct.
first responder
This
when
is
you're
an
in a
emergency situation.
Absolutely.
But the daily patrol of a community is not an emergency situation. Community policing is not the visitation of a sheriff's officer who's been cycled out of another area to come into this community.
Community policing, I love the fact that you use that phrase, Mr.
Would you
Cox. One
allow a
minute, please.
board to
Community
represent?
policing.
Yes.
Community policing.
Yes.
I'll explain to you my understanding of community policing through experience. Community policing, NYPD, literally, you are feet on the pavement, you are with vendors, with residents, you walk your beat. You police a community.
We're
Now,
a community
hold on,
of a
hold on.
different
Are you
nature.
going to let me finish, sir? We've had requests from our local chambers of commerce for downtown patrol because that is community policing. One day. We've had requests for community policing. This is not the place where we're able to have our officers knocking door to door, just checking in all the time, seeing how things are going, because we just don't have that demographic.
and
But
I agree
nonetheless,
with that.
we still have our patrolmen who are going through the town, which is in agreement. We've also had patrol support from the sheriff's department previously. We're increasing that presently. Your assumption of one sector is totally going to get dropped off the face, again, incorrect, because that's rotating. That was in the papers as well.
Well, it
Hold on.
gets
Hold on.
rotated.
You've also talked about a culture of downstairs. That's part of what we have as an issue. I'm just going to say, page 11, look at the culture, and let's see about cooperation.
What's page
Ton-
11?
Mopac News.
Take a look at Mahopac News today. I will say we have great cooperation tonight in executive session at 6:30 when we're discussing what's been taking place between our police departments, organizational managers, between the sheriff's department, officers who are in the brass, meaning that they're lieutenants or higher, along with state troopers. This communication is ongoing, which is where we hear about issues. You're absolutely correct with some of the statements that you put in there in regards to logistics, how operations are going to work, getting all the details ironed out, and 100% correct. We don't have every detail ironed out, which is why we're continuously meeting, which is why we talk about what equipment do you need in order to have same mapping? What are we going to do for our communication systems? I asked tonight specifically, are we on a system that I've known about for 5 years, that I've seen other agencies on for 5 years? We're still not on it. We are behind on IT, we're behind on a few things, and it's not because our police department, and it's not because this board per se, but evolutions that have happened for decades. Previous town boards where I was still in high school, town boards previous to some people living here, previous to any of these officers even coming onto the force. These things have been put in motion. Now, is it a perfect solution? I don't think we have a perfect solution at hand right now. I don't know if there is a perfect solution. But are we working with what we've been given, with what our resources are, and are we utilizing those resources to work cooperatively together? I will resoundingly say yes. Do I think we have everybody buying into the game right now? Absolutely not. That's what we need our managers to work on, is getting everyone to buy in, because our managers are the ones who are forming this. They're seeing through this progression, this evolution meaning it's a living type of action. We're going to see changes. We're going to see hurdles. We're going to see roadblocks. And what we need to do as professional organizations is address them as they come up, because we're not going to be able to identify everyone off the bat. But as the evolution continues, we need to work cooperatively to make sure that we have resolutions to them that are going to be lasting into the future. So is it perfect? No. Are there going to be hiccups? Yes. Are there going to be egos that are hurt? 100%, whether it be egos here, egos there, or egos there. There will be, because it's human nature. But the most important mission is delivering the service of first responders and law enforcement to the residents and business owners in our area. Period. End of story. Can we debate it all night? 100%. Is it going to be a living evolution? Yes. Do we need cooperation from all sides? Absolutely. Including cooperation from the public with input such as yours, because it's valuable, because we need to hear this feedback. Because without feedback, we're doing nothing more than dictating. And that's not, I believe, anyone's intention here. I don't believe that's any intention at our police level, at our sheriff level, or at our state level.
I want to thank you, the board, because I think one of us should sit down. And
We,
since I'm the only one standing
I
at the
encourage you,
moment.
in all seriousness, I do encourage you to come back.
I
on
have a New
weekly
Year's
basis.
resolution that I think I can keep.
I think that'd be wonderful.
Do
I'd
you
like
mind
to
if
see
I
it.
just say one thing, Mr. Coxum, right?
Jack
Yeah,
is
Jack,
fine.
all right. I want to let you know, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. The Carmel Police, I've grown up here my whole life, okay? My brother was a police officer and things, and there is a community police with it, and I don't ever want to lose that. What my intention was, as well as this board, is when we found out that we're paying $7 million to an entity, which is the Sheriff's Department, and we're not getting $7 million worth of services, it was asked, can we not pay them $7 million? Can we pay them, if they're only giving us $3 million, can we only pay them $3 million and save the $4
What's the
million
answer
here?
to that?
And the answer was no.
Who said that?
No, we did ask that, and we also asked, I asked it, and then, yes, I did ask it.
You did.
Yes, I did ask that, and then we wanted to go line, kind of line by line.
Talking that you must be speaking to county officials, these questions.
Yes, and we're trying to find out through this whole year's worth, okay, what is the actual amount that they are giving us? We know it's not $7 million worth. What's the actual amount? We haven't even been able to come up with that amount, okay? But I know, and we all know, it's not $7 million. So my intention, as well as everybody's up here from discussions with them over the last year, is not to lose the community police department that we have.
That's
okay,
the
that
road
I've
I'm worried
grown up
about.
with. Okay, that's not what our intention is. Our intention is that if I'm paying $7 million, no, I'm not paying $7 million.
We
Oh
are.
God, maybe if I win tonight the lotto. But if we're all paying something,
Right.
we should get something for it.
On that, we have
a
agreed.
fair share. That's what we're. And this was a solution, like the Councilman Schneider said. It's not perfect. It's a work in progress. So we had to do something, okay? Because we over time was skyrocketing, morale, just everything. And so this is a start. It may be a new beginning of thing, and we're still working on how can we alleviate some of the funding that we give over there. Until we get that answer, we had to do something, and this is what, with cooperation with the chief, with the sheriffs, with, I think maybe some of the PBA
At the end of the
people
day, out of
there.
the roughly $8 million that you're trying to get some equity out of, probably the sheriff is giving you somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 return.
No.
You know,
we
I
can't- we can't
I
get-
don't
we-
know, and you know, I don't want to speculate, because I
The
don't
sheriff
do
gives
that.
us a lot of services, gives other
But what-
municipalities a
but-
lot of
In
services.
this,
But
in this
I just-
model of rather than use an antagonistic word, rotating through the three sectors.
It's
I'm
just-
sorry,
it-
I'm sorry, sir, are you trying to value what they're giving us, like the service, the help?
I'm
service
putting
help
it
that
into a number. An officer with his and her, or her benefits is a number.
Yeah.
The sheriff is giving us that officer. That officer is a number.
24/7 patrol of.
Whatever the math is.
24/7 patrol of
whatever
a
the math
sector
is,
is
we're still
it's about 5 people.
deeply,
It's about 5
deeply,
people.
Deeply short of 8 million, 7 million, 6
Yeah,
million.
No,
Deeply
no,
short.
we're not going to
Hold
come
on,
up
hold
with.
on.
Ladies,
Wait,
ladies
John,
and
let me-
gentlemen, I'm prepared to go till midnight, but I don't know that you
Yeah,
want to.
no, I just wanted to
guys,
let you know
we
that
have
I
to be-
hear
we
what
all
you're.
have- We all
I
have to be
appreciate
careful
that, Ms.
shooting
Dunn.
from the hip. We have to be careful shooting from the hip. We're just throwing out $7.5 million to the sheriff. The sheriff gives a lot of services. It just, if you put the municipalities going across on the chart and the services going down, there's a laundry list of services that he gives everyone. And if you compare on this matrix that I'm trying to have you envision, patrol was not one of the ones. So the $7 million, the sheriff gave us services. We
Okay.
just weren't getting the equivalent services of a Patterson, of a Garrison, of a Putt Valley. We cannot say that the sheriff, we give the sheriff $7.5 million and we get nothing. He does give something. And I should say he, the sheriff department, the deputies, everyone does. We asked to redefine our patrol that he gave and to make it more robust, to make it equivalent. It is to supplement the Carmel Police Department, which will allow, again, as I said, and everyone could laugh at it, scheduling opportunities. We don't have to hire 5 to 7 because the chief did ask for 5 or 6. We're now hiring 2. So we're hiring, so it shows that we're not disbanding the police department, but we're mitigating the cost, trying to keep it at the $8 to $9 million and not have large increases. Because in 5 years, hiring 5 more people is $1 million. So we could hire 5 today and 5 rookies, let them learn under the police chief and our officers, and it'll be a $1 million cost to the taxpayers. So the 8 or 9 million is going to grow to 9 or 10 million of our $24 million budget. It's not an elimination of the Carmel Police Department. It is to supplement. It is to everyone work together, called shared services. The sheriff generously and cooperation gave it to us. The last point I'm going to make, because we've spoken too much, and you're right, is we keep saying community, community, community. We are a community, not just Carmel, but Putnam County. Putnam County is ranked one of the safest counties in the state. Not because of Carmel PD. They're part of it. They're part of the reason why we're one of the safest. But guess who else also is? The sheriff, because only Carmel and Kent have a full-time police department. So that means out of all the other municipalities, the sheriff is providing the bulk of the services, or they don't have a policing service. So let's keep in mind that, and I understand the Mets, the Yankees, and listen, I acknowledge and I respect your opinion, but being a community, I'm not about to say that the sheriff is better than the Carmel PD is better than the sheriff. I don't want, being a community, we can't say which one's better, we shouldn't say which one's better, because we could debate that, we could look at charts, we could look at statistics till we're blue in the face. We're a community. We're coming together. We have 2 law enforcement agencies coming together and working together. Is it change? I'm sorry it's change. It's called evolution. Evolution just brings change. If everyone has an opinion that which one they like better, God bless them. I like them both. I'm glad that both are patrolling Carmel.
You know, I'd feel a lot more wonderful if the sheriff took the uniform of his deputies and put on a Carmel uniform
They
and
can't do
sent
that,
them
sir.
over here.
I hear what you're
Can't-
saying, but they can't do
You can't do that,
You
yeah.
know what? I'm a retired policeman. Yes, they can. Yes, they have done it. It has been done on crime task force. The county of Westchester has done it. I know fellow police officers I work with that work with the Westchester district attorneys, drug enforcement. Yes, they can. Yes,
Sir,
they
just
can.
one last
May
comment.
I ask
Can I
one
just-
Yeah,
question?
let him
a
ask,
technical
because we
question,
keep
if I
cutting you off.
may?
Please ask.
You have some documents that, may I ask for them from your office, Mr. Schmidt? Or would you require me to foil?
You should foil them.
Foil.
Foil them through the town
What
clerk.
document, sir? Just
I
so-
want to know, I understand there's a DCJS study several years ago, '07, somewhere around that. I caught that in one of I'd like to read that. I want to do the research. I mean, I won't say that my opinion can't be changed, but right now it's not influenced to change.
No, it's fine, and I
Right.
respect
So
that.
I am going to look further because I don't want to be just the head in the hole. I'm willing to look around. I have to admit my bias for the Carmel Police Department.
And
I
you're
believe
entitled to-
Because
you're-
where I worked in community
You're
policing,
entitled to do
Where
that.
did you work?
Town of Ossining, Village of Croton, small community policing. I was one of 10 officers. I worked alone. I was dispatched by another police department. And if hell broke loose, that department sent somebody to back me up. Every once in a while, there'd be a political drama between the police chiefs, and they'd get an order to the men, don't back up to the town.
Which is sad.
Guess who was there? The village guy came anyway, because we were cops. That's a different model. That's when the cop's life or his safety is in jeopardy. Everybody comes, everybody's a participant in safety. I don't see that in this model. So I will foil.
Okay, sir, let me just say a couple of words. As you probably know, or you may not be aware of, I'm a retired Carmel police officer. I put 26 years in the Carmel PD. I worked with every one of those gentlemen behind you. I'm proud to say I'm a retired member of the Carmel PD, and I'm proud of the work that the town of Carmel men and women are doing for the town of Carmel. For the record, I want to put that out there.
And I think they need to hear that.
And I just want to say to you that if anyone has any fears or concerns or any doubts whether or not the Carmel Police Department is going to remain in existence, I'm here to tell you personally that I will not let that happen. As long as I'm here as the Town of Carmel supervisor, that will not happen. There will be a Town of Carmel Police Department, and they will be patrolling the Town of Carmel. I can assure you of that.
Well, those are sweet
I
words.
support and respect every single one of them that are here and every one of them that are not here, including the Chief of Police, Mike Kazari, that I worked with as a patrolman. We go back a long way. I've trained some of the officers behind you. They worked for me as a sergeant. They were in my squad. So I can tell you that I have a passion and I have a great deal of respect and admiration for the members of the Carmel Police Department. They do an excellent job protecting this community, and I have no doubts that they're going to continue to do that. They will be on the road patrolling the town of Carmel. They can go anywhere in their geographical area of employment, which is the town of Carmel. They can go to a sector that is being covered by the Sheriff's Department. And they have. And there's nothing to say that they can't. And they're going to have the same amount of cars on the road that they had before the sheriff took over covering a sector. The same amount of cars. But that one extra car, or the two extra cars that would be float cars, they're going to be detail cars. They're going to be out there enforcing vehicle and traffic violations. They're going to be making drug arrests. They're going to be pulling cars over because they have the time to do that. Because they're still on the road, it's just that those one or two cars, or at least the one car, is not patrolling a sector. So he's free to do that. So I think we're going to get more flexibility, and the chief is going to have more flexibility with scheduling. We're not reducing the amount of manpower. Minimum manning is going to remain the same. So you're going to have extra cars out there providing extra services to the town of Carmel. But you're going to see more law enforcement presence in the town of Carmel by the sheriff, which we all spoke about, the $7.5 million. Now we're getting services from the sheriff in the form of a patrol, a dedicated patrol according to the sheriff. You're going to have state police coverage in the town that Captain Tremento from the New York State Police has promised, and he has come through because we do see state police cars patrolling the town. So I want to assure these guys that are here tonight that we have no intention, this board has no intention of disbanding or eliminating the Carmel Police Department. In fact, if we're doing anything, we are reinforcing them by hiring 2 additional brand-new patrolmen within the next month or so. Buying new cars, buying new equipment, supporting the chief. Does it sound like that's a board that has intentions of disbanding their PD or eliminating their PD? So I just want you, because you're here tonight, and I want the residents at home who are watching this or who may watch it, that is not the intention of this board. And I personally would not be in favor of that if it ever came up for discussion. And I don't think it's going to, because I believe this board supports the Carmel Police Department.
I want to
All right,
thank all the
so-
board members, and
Thank
I'd like
you.
to tell you and promise you that I'm going to weigh what I heard tonight, but I'm still very unsure of the model that's being presented to us, the taxpayer. Thank
Feel
you.
free to always come and talk to us.
Thank you, sir. This was an excellent dialogue, very spirited, back and forth. We got more feedback tonight, and we were able to present more information to the community because you came up and you were asking questions about what's going on. But you know what's sad? You're the only one that's here tonight.
No, we have people in the back.
No, no, the gentleman that came up with respect to the police patrols within the town of Carmel. I don't believe that this woman that's coming up is going to speak about that. I'm pretty sure she's not. All right, but thank you, sir, for being here.
Now she will.
Now she might. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Dolberger. I live at 25 Clearview Road in Mahopac, and I'm also the vice president of the Long Pond Association. I'd like to know if you have received the letter that was sent to you yesterday by me and Jill Sanders DeMott.
Yes, we have.
Okay. I have received word from Mr. Drozey that he's going to provide me with a list so that we can reconcile the parcels that are being, the number of parcels that are being taxed. So I appreciate that. My question is, will we be receiving a response to our other requests from the town board?
You will be receiving a response from your most recent correspondence, the email that we received.
Yes.
That will be coming from the town assessor.
Well,
Glenn Drozey will be responding to that.
there
Was there
were
something else that?
3 questions.
Okay.
So one question was, we asked for an explanation as to how the taxes wound up in our 2016 bills, because we were not aware that it was going to show up then, and there was no record of a public hearing or a town board meeting and decision on how the costs were to be allocated. And we had understood from our interactions with the town board last year that we would be informed and that our district members would have an opportunity to give additional input to the decision-making process. So we're hoping for an explanation as to how this all works. How does it wind up in our tax bill when the town board didn't vote on it or make a decision?
Yes, go. Glenn?
Yeah, that's something that we'd like the town assessor to respond to. That particular question, how it wound up in your 2016 town tax bill, it's because the assessor processed the tax rolls and the tax bills for the town of Carmel, so maybe he can explain why.
Or how?
Let me just interject, if you don't mind.
all right.
The first thing is, the district was formed on October 22nd, 2014.
Right.
After there was a public hearing in September, we carried it over to October.
Right.
During the course of the public hearing, the overwhelming majority of the commentary was regarding the assessment method. There were certainly some comments about the actual overall formation of the
Yes.
district, but the majority of the commentary was about the method of assessment. At that particular point, there were 2 methods that were considered. One was an ad valorem method, and the other was a unit valuation-based method.
Right.
At the time the district was formed, and the final order forming the district provided that the town had the authority to assess the property owners within the district, any method allowable under law. So at that point, there may have been some discussion about further discussion about the final method, but the formation process was done. Thereafter, I think that the Long Pond Association submitted some documents through Mr. Banks, where although I think everybody knew there wasn't going to be a consensus, the overwhelming majority of the property owners wanted the unit-based method, because I think that it overall balanced out the distribution of the assessment better or more equivalently than the ad valorem method. So that's where it was left based on the submission. And the assessor, in my view, has legal authority to impose either one. There didn't need to be a further town board action determining that the unit-based method would have been utilized. It was up to Assessor Drozy to do that. But to my understanding, it was exactly what the overwhelming majority of the residents and property owners wanted. And why it's on the 2016 bill is because there was actually a bond anticipation notes issued in October. The project is in process of design, it's going to be bid, and it's going to be built this year. So you're going to incur the costs of the improvements within the district this year to some extent. And my guess is you're going to probably incur it all. I would think that based on the schedule we're looking at, that's all going to be done this year. So that the assessments had to be levied on the properties so that the money could be there for the payment of the debt financing for the capital improvements.
Okay, so just so that you're aware, we sent a letter on November 18th, 2014, where we reported on a meeting that we had at your request, where members of the district could discuss the method that they preferred, and we reported back to you. I'm not disagreeing that of the people who voiced opinions, it was the per lot method. We were not aware that the decision would be made by the assessor. We understood that the decision would be made by the town board, and we also understood, and it's documented in my letter here, that people who didn't voice their preference expected to have another opportunity to comment. And we didn't know that the decision was coming. There are some people for whom it's a hardship, and if they knew it was coming, they felt they could have prepared and planned for it better. I understand the district was created. If your answer is it's not the town board's decision, it's the assessor's decision, that's what we'll go back and tell our members. So,
Largely, it's the town board formed the district with the authority to impose the assessment on any method allowable under law, and that was one of the two that were considered, and what the board and the assessor thought was the overwhelmingly preferable method for the property owners, and that's presumably why it was done instead of
If I
back to
remember
law.
correctly, and I thought we had a public hearing on the borrowing of this.
we
Public
didn't,
hearings on the borrowing, public hearings on the formation.
No, we did.
the
What month was
public
that?
hearing-
October?
we did.
October 22 of 14 was the formation.
Of the
and
formation,
the
but the
borrowing
public-
had to be in advance of that, because we had to have the funding in place before we could form it.
Right.
for
But
the
it did
capital
not
improvements.
address how the cost would be allocated, and we were told at that time it did not have to be addressed yet, that it could be addressed later.
At that time, it didn't be, but
Right.
once the project is gonna be underway, it's gotta be paid for. So
I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I know you do. I'm just trying to say that if we move the process along based on the residents' desire to get this done,
Absolutely.
right, and I would think that it's probably gonna get done sometime this year.
It is.
Right,
We
so
hope.
it's, well, I think,
Yes.
I mean, barring, you know.
Yes. Okay,
uh,
I think we got our answer, and I will go
Yeah,
back
and
and
I think,
report the
well, I mean, we
answer.
had all those petitions from everyone who signed.
We did.
Right.
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 But the
So-
only
So
thing
we
that-
weren't, I'm
I
sorry,
know.
I don't want
Go-
to
no,
interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Me personally, if the majority of the residents felt that they wanted to be taxed a certain way on it, you know,
I know you wanted
that's
input
okay,
from
that's okay
us.
with me. I
Right.
mean, as long as they were the ones who were making the decision,
Right.
I was fine with whatever the majority agreed with, and I think all of us felt that way.
And we reported to you what the people who voiced an opinion told us, but not everybody voiced an opinion, and they thought they were going to have another opportunity for input. So the fact that we were all surprised that it
Right.
showed up in our bills doesn't mean we don't think we have to pay for this project. Don't
No,
misunderstand me.
of course.
It's just, nobody thought it was going to be now,
right.
and nobody knew a decision had been made as to what the allocation method was, and we expected to be informed. So I'm alerting you to that. As far as how much we were actually charged, yes, the controller did tell me that we had to float a bond anticipation note, and that she decided to include a certain amount, in the budget that we would be taxed for. We're not experts on understanding how to read all these numbers, so why they would be $50,000 in principal and $13,000 in interest, it just seems like a lot of interest, so we don't know the details. We will go back to the controller and ask for an explanation, because our people want to know the numbers.
Yeah, I think-
We also don't know of the $174,000 that has been incurred so far. Is that on track? Is that not on track? We would like to be apprised that the project is going as planned and that it's not likely to exceed the $1.45 million in our petition, but we don't know the process by which to do that. Who do we ask? Who do we talk to?
and there was a lot that went on over the course of those meetings, but the process is, at this point, is pretty simple. Once the design is done, it'll be authorized to go out to bid. And whether you exceed the numbers is going to be driven overwhelmingly by how the bids come in. And the board certainly has the authorization to reject it and rebid it if the numbers are something that's over the borrowing, if it's over the allocated borrowing amount. My recollection is the petition had that amount in it.
It did.
So the board may want to have a new petition. We certainly would need additional borrowing authorizations for the bonds. So I think that a lot of what the questions are going to be answered at the time that the project, when the board authorizes its advertising for bid, as to where it stands now, or where it stands at that point when the design is completed, and then what the big number is, how much it's going to cost
Okay,
for the actual construction, the improvements. And that'll drive it.
okay. So the one last question is, we understand that it went through is it called the SECR?
Seeker.
Process?
The board's declared itself as lead agency, okay? Before we award the bid, we'll have to make a determination on the improvements, presumably a negative deck. But right now, the board's declared its intent to act as lead agency. It's circulated, and I think the 30-day period runs mid-month. Is that right, Ann?
And at the end of that period of time, then it'll be put out to bid? Then it's considered final?
Correct. Well, the design has to be finished, but
Okay.
the scope of the project is what it is. There's 6,700 linear feet of road that's going to be redone.
So how
So for
will-
seeker purposes, it's not necessarily the bid and the cost. It's the amount of disturbance, it's the amount of impervious surface that's corrected.
So
It's,
how do
it's-
how do we find out when the next milestone happens? Like when the SECR process
Do I-
ends or when it's put out
Did I
to
talk to
bid?
you, or did I talk to Chuck? Is that,
Okay.
I mean, you have
I'll
an
ask
attorney
you-
who's
I
been
didn't
involved.
wanna ask you, but I
That's
could
fine,
ask you,
and I'm
okay.
glad to do it.
Okay,
But I
okay.
don't feel like I should overstep the attorney who represented the group
Okay.
before the board. I'm glad to do it as long as he's okay with it and you're okay with it. Then
Okay.
it may ease the communication process a little bit, and I'm
Okay.
fine to do it. But my guess is you're probably looking at the end of the first quarter of the year for all of that,
Okay.
for those events to transpire. The final secret
you.
determination, and the process to go out for
We
bid.
can't wait to have roads. Thank you.
And, well, and I can tell you that the design of that particular project is extremely extensive. There's a lot of agencies that are involved, the DEP, the DEC, and our consulting engineering firm that has been working on design. I could tell you they've met with NYSEG officials because 18 telephone poles have to be relocated on that site. And that's a lot of telephone poles to be
Right.
moved back beyond the travel portion of the roadway. So it's a lot involved, but I could tell you that they are continuously working on that, and we'd like to have a design in place to go out to bid sometime, I would say, Greg, in May, maybe?
I thought,
April or May?
hopefully, that it'll be authorized by the end of the first
Sooner?
quarter of the year, and then, but, right, and
Okay.
then you have, but you're gonna have a period for review, collecting the bids, reviewing them, and awarding it, so.
So you mean-
Mid-year is
So
the idea to award.
So construction's not going to start when the snow goes out? That's what we were told. Okay, let's hope it's 2000.
Well, let's hope there's no snow,
You-
and we might be able to get in there sooner.
Yeah,
All right.
Kenny, maybe it would help, and I don't know if you could do, is just put together, not a schedule as far as the dates, but almost like the procedures, like starting back then, like you guys petitioned, then, we had the public hearing, they did the seeker review, after the seeker review is this, after it goes out to bid, goes this, and then you can reject it or not reject it, then this work would start. That may help the confusion a little bit as to just
That would be
this,
great.
just the steps of it, a
The
timeline.
process?
The process, yeah.
timeline for stuff?
And, yeah.
Breakdown,
Actually, like a breakdown, and it doesn't have to go into detail, but, and she may be able to
Yeah.
talk to, with the design, it would be the engineers, with the money, it would be the comptrollers. That may help,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry I took more than 3 minutes. Thank you.
All right, not a problem. Have a good night. Thank you. Is there any other members of the public that would like to come up? Yes, sir.
Hopefully it won't take too long. I'm Bob O'Connor, I live in 23 Highland Road, also Long Pond, this has to do with Long Pond situation. Probably going to ask questions that relate to what you were talking about. $173,000 right now, is that going above the 1.45, or is it going below the 1.4? The $173,000 we just taxed just now,
It's included.
is it, so it's going to be deducted off the 1.45?
It's part
Oh,
of the
okay.
development design
That's how I want
costs.
to be clear. Now, when you send a response, I guess the controller, whoever sends a response to Ellen regarding that expense is gonna be itemized or broken down for us so we understand what it's being charged for? Or is it just gonna say we're doing it for engineering and,
Yeah, the town controller, Mary Ann,
Right.
she could prepare that and print that out. She could actually break down the costs.
All right, I
And where
appreciate
the
that.
money's being allocated to from the 1.45.
right. See, that's why, the only thing I know, I was here for the healthy meetings with respect to how we're gonna pay it. And I only know that the next vote would come with, it exceeded the 1.45 million. That would be where we could come and say, no, we don't want it, or approve the, whatever additions might be necessary. But I just wanted those other two, because she asked most of the questions I was gonna ask. I had a couple pages for you, but, two other things. Happy New Year to everybody and all your
Happy
families.
New Year, sir.
And with respect to the police department, Putnam Valley used to have a police department. They voted out a couple of years ago. They
That's
did
not
have a good-
that's not happening here.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying, it has happened in other towns where
not hap-
slowly but
it's-
surely they fade them out.
Not happening.
Yeah,
on
that's
our
not
watch.
gonna happen
You
here.
guys do a good job.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Tonight was the night everybody asked questions.
Yeah.
Everybody's here.
Anyone else that wants to come up? Sergeant Dearman,
See you, resident.
are you a resident of the town of Carmel?
Whose residence are you gonna use?
John changed the rule like a month ago.
Employees.
Yeah, he
I'm
did,
teasing.
didn't he?
That was
Come
last,
Yeah.
that was last year.
Oh, that was last year. The rules have changed again.
You could use my residency.
I got Tommy Johansson's here.
Do you know where John lives?
I do know where John lives.
You can use his residence.
You know I know where all of you live.
And I've invited you to my house, and you've been to my house. And you've been to John's house.
First off, I'm just gonna
No, he hasn't been
You've
here.
been to my house.
I'm gonna counterpoint what Mr. Coxon was saying about the whole Mets Yankees thing because A, I'm a Mets fan,
Yes.
and B,
That's too bad for you.
Oh, it's easy.
it's not fair to try to make it Mets Yankees, especially since A, I started at the sheriff's department. That's where I got my feet wet. I still have my training officers are still up there. I have very good friends up there. They do the same job in a different way. They're excellent up there, and they've always helped us whenever we've needed them. And so it's not fair to say it's Mets and Yankees because they do the same job. They just do it in different parts of the county where they're covering less people, towns that are bigger. So I do hope a lot of this has been repeated, and you guys keep saying it. And I hope we do hire 2 officers. Although,
can I just stop you for 1 second,
Hold
John?
on, just let me finish. It's
No,
gonna be
but
quick.
just let me stop you at one point.
Let him finish. first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let him
I'm
finish.
sorry.
I can't believe it until I see it because we've heard it before, and I know this year it's actually budgeted. Unfortunately, because of all the turmoil, I'm also hearing that we may lose another 1 or 2 to other departments because no one's really sure on what's going on with this. And then that gentleman just brought up Putt Valley. Now, I was like 19 when the whole Putt Valley happened, and I wasn't paying much attention, but since all this started happening, I'm getting calls from guys who probably been retired 15 years, but who were in Putt Valley. You know, we have a guy who was in Putt Valley, and before they were abolished, the town board swore up and down they were hiring. They did buy new cars, and then they took those new cars after the town board abolished the police department and gave them to highway and the assessor's office. And next thing you know, the town police department was gone. There was lawsuits, and everybody had to try to file. So this is where residents from here are on high alert now, because the ones who do remember that happening are thinking it's happening here. Older officers who remember it happening think it's happening here. Guys are coming up to me who haven't even been cops for 10, 15 years are warning me about it. This looks like the same play. It's the same game plan all over again. That's why you're getting issues and blowback, and it's not about, you know, us trying to fight with the sheriff's department. My wife was like, oh, I saw a sheriff's car and a Carmel car parked at 6 and Belden today when I was bringing the kids to school talking. She's like, I go, yeah, we're friends. We know each other. We're going to back each other up. We are having technical difficulties with the 911 center and not hearing some of our cars due to the radios are bad or whatever. Things that I brought up that I said were going to happen and we weren't ready for are happening. But, you know, I don't think it's people throwing up roadblocks. It's we're all on high alert, and we've heard we're hiring and all this stuff, and we are just, the proof is in the pudding, and we're down 6, probably 7 once someone else goes, and, we're hiring 2. Are we gonna get to 2? Are we gonna lose more? All this is the stuff that's got residents and officers and everybody wondering. And you can say it, and I have to take you for your word for it, but
You don't
can
have
say it
to,
till the
in
blue
all,
your
in all
face
due
until
respect, you
until
don't
it
have to
happens.
take me for my word, John. You're a smart guy. You've been here through every budget meeting that we've had. That money is in the budget to hire 2 new cops. I mean, all you have to do is speak to the chief. I've spoken to him already 2 or 3 times about, Chief, have you vetted some guys to hire? Yes, he has. Correct, Chief? I don't know.
In fairness,
what,
we've vetted
I don't
guys
know.
before, and then
Not,
it's
not while I've been here, John. Not while I've been here. You haven't vetted anybody.
year or two
John, you
ago.
haven't.
It wasn't in the budget, but you're right. The process started. You are
again, it
correct.
wasn't.
You are correct. The
So, like,
process
that's why I
started,
said
but it
it's-
wasn't budgeted.
This
We're
is in
hearing
the
it, it
budget,
didn't
John.
happen.
Yes.
We can go back and forth.
I'm just
and if-
letting you know
and
it.
if-
You don't get frustrated with members of the public, or don't get frustrated.
There's
us,
nobody
because
in the
until
public
we-
that's gotten frustrated.
Oh,
I
said don't
guarantee
get
you.
Frustrated with members of the public.
They're not frustrated. They're actually, they understand everything that's going on. You give them more credit than they know everything that's going on, and they appreciate the work that you guys do. They appreciate work that we do. They appreciate the sheriff's department. They appreciate everything. You've been here, John. Haven't you been here through all budget meetings?
Yes, I have.
How many times have I said to you, and not just me, these guys, we're not I didn't live here when Putnam Valley, whatever happened. I don't know any of that stuff. To be honest with you, I don't really give a damn. I wasn't here. I don't know what I have to do, what any of us have to do to say, we're not shutting the department, for God's sake. I mean, enough already. We're scaring people for no reason. And you know what? If 2 of your guys or 1 of you guys want to leave, that hurts me. That makes me feel bad. But that's their decision. They're leaving a very, very good job with.
Yeah, that's how.
Hold on. Let me just finish. A good job, great salary, great benefits, in a relatively safe community and safe town, in a great town. So if somebody chooses to leave, that's their decision. I can't change their mind. But you know what? They're losing. I mean, John, I don't have to tell you what.
But don't you
what
think if
guys
someone's
make-
actually considering doing
John,
that, what
John,
what
listen,
would make
listen.
someone consider doing that? Leaving a great job, leaving a great
I don't
department,
know.
leaving a great
Are
town?
you leaving?
I'm too old now. Who wants me?
I'm glad you said that, not
Well,
me again.
listen.
We still want you.
If they
You know,
listen,
who's going to take me as
you
a
know what?
transfer?
We are all adults. If an adult decides that they want to leave for their own reason, I can't stop them. But you know what, John? They get a paycheck every 2 weeks with a great salary, with overtime, with the town board that does support them, with a great chief, with great coworkers. So I can't tell them. If they want to leave, they leave. I don't know what you want us to say, except for the fact that we're giving you everything that we got. You know, this is a $9 million budget. That's for you guys. That's to protect this community. If somebody leaves, John, are we going to hire if they leave? I mean, we'll have to see what the situation is if somebody does leave. But you know what? Ask the chief. Work with him. I know you speak to him all the time. I speak to him 3 times a week, Chief. We've started the process. We've put in the budget for him to hire an assistant to work with him. We were just talking about it today. Why would I waste my breath and time? Why would any of us, if we were shutting the department? Stop scaring the public. It's ridiculous what's going on. It really is.
It's not
You know
about
what?
trying
You
to
and I have
scare
always-
the public.
Stop.
It's
Let me
the people.
talk.
It's
We've
happened before.
John, it's never happened here. Has it?
So that means it can't happen.
It's not gonna, but, okay. I don't know what you want me to say, so.
If you don't mind, John, you and I,
mean, we've
we were
gone
about
over
the same
this
place in our
million
lives when
times.
Putnam Valley's
Yay,
police
yay.
department went under. I wasn't paying attention to it at the time either. There was a lot of other things on my mind at the time. But I have spoken with some of the police officers who worked there. I've spoken with some of the officials who were in charge at the time. I've spoken with people at the county. My understanding was it had nothing to do with a political decision aside from how do we correct what we have seen as lawsuits that continue to be founded on evidence for major abuses of power. Now, we don't have that happening in our police department, and I pray I never see it while I'm here. I greatly believe that it won't happen, and as long as it doesn't, I'll do everything I can to make sure we still have a police department here. In regards to hiring, we have an academy, I believe it's 4 weeks out, that starts over in Rockland. We have everybody up here saying it's in our budget, we are hiring 2 people. It starts in 4 weeks. Can you imagine what the backlash would be if in the next 4 weeks we tell our chief, our PBA, we're not doing it anymore?
Yeah, I guess we'd have our answer then.
It would be, I mean, in reality, I would expect to see this place standing room only come February 13th, whatever day that meeting would be. It's not happening. It will not happen, and I hope just hearing 5 people tonight say it's in our budget, we're hiring 2 people, and the fact that it's 4 weeks away, the academy, we're hiring. We got that. We have our equipment coming in. We want to make sure we have our communications, we have our mapping, we have our technology that we need. We've invested in software. We've invested for scheduling. We want to make sure that you guys have the resources you need, whether it be technology, weapons, manpower. We want to make sure that what is necessary is there. Same as I said with our fire department. We want to make sure no matter what, over everything, the safety of our residents is taken into account first and foremost, as well as the safety of our first responders, which includes the fire department, the police department, sheriff, state trooper, anyone who's covering our jurisdiction to protect the residents and the business owners, which you guys do a spectacular job of. But as far as going the way of Putnam Valley, it's going to take major newspaper articles, lawsuits that are found in favor of people who are prosecuting our police department, things like that that show a habitual abuse that's become a culture, which we don't have here. And as long as we keep it that way and we look down the road and we see how we work together, I think we're going to be able to make sure that it's a long, prosperous road for the residents as well as the police department, because it should be something that my grandkids are going to see 40 years down the road, or however old they're going to be. But I'm hoping that if I'm still here, my kids are still here, and grandkids are still here, there's still a CPD car that can come around. See it around, see patrolling. I'd love to see it where, hey, we have enough money in our budget where people aren't worried about getting a 5% raise in taxes because everyone's doing so well and we're affluent. It's not that community anymore. We have to really look at what we're doing and how we deliver services, and we need the help of everyone who's employed here, as well as people who are able to service the area with other services that may complement what we do. So I look forward to working with PBA, with our chief, with sheriffs, with state. We're going to make it happen, and as long as we're not doing things that are abusing our powers and authorities, we're going to be fine down the road.
I'm not worried about that.
I'm not, and like I said, it's not happening here now, so I don't think we have to worry about what happened to Putnam Valley. And as long as we have great men and women who are protecting us, we're going to be fine down the road. We just have to work together for it.
And I don't know what happened in Putnam Valley. I'm sorry, Kenny. I didn't live here, but Putnam Valley is this big. Town of Carmel's 37,000 people. We are the largest town in the county. That would be like, that would be stupid to get rid of a Carmel Police Department. But you know what? Can we start the year off differently? Can you trust in the fact that I've said to you once, twice, 25 times, we're not shutting the department, we're not cutting cops, we're hot. Can we start on a new foundation? Because you know what the public is pissed off about? That there seems to be this animosity, and it doesn't bother me personally, but that there's an animosity between the town board and the Carmel Police Department.
It's not fun for us either.
Well, excuse me?
It's not fun for us
So
either.
then stop
It's
doing
certainly
it.
not fun for
It's
me.
very simple. Listen, finances are finances. Everybody's always going to argue about that, but
Guys, you know what I've always said. Every time we all move against one another, no one wins. And I've been quiet here tonight, and it doesn't mean that I'm scheming or trying to undermine anything. I'm quiet because I'm tired. We've all said this before. I was quoted in the paper, and quite honestly, not to just talk about this, but I've been called a demon. I've been called an SOB. I've been called a lot of things. I've been called the de facto leader from the old chief. I've been called the puppeteer. I've been called the influencer of this board. So if I was quoted in the paper saying that we're going to hire, and if I'm the demon or the SOB, and I wrote you, and I keep telling everyone, can we stop moving against one another and move together? Now, as I said in other meetings, is the department going to be smaller? So instead of 36, we have 30 or 31. That's change, sorry, but there's 31. In negotiations, I said, we have to control costs so that we have longevity, that we have job security. We can't just have the costs grow. So if we all just trust in one another and stop that, I move a piece, you move a piece, and we have to work together. Again, we are a community. So you got 4 weeks. Maybe, hopefully, when you get the new cars, if that's symbolic, and you get the two new hires, if that's symbolic, wonderful. So I'm going to just hold my breath, cross my fingers, and wait for 4 weeks. And I won't even say I told you so until we're having the beer doing math. But like, trust me. Like,
John, in all seriousness, I mean, I don't know what we have to do.
Before Christmas, I said, what can we do to help the guys not go out on Christmas all pee off and low morale? That was sincere. There's
Let me just
fear, and I
finish
get it, it's human nature, I get it, but then we're all gonna just have to cross our fingers and watch now. We're at a point where things are gonna be controlled, we're all gonna work together, and as the chief said, we're going to be optimistic, we're going to get things working in order, we're going to work with the sheriff's department, we're going to have a good town, we're going to have long-term career. I mean, heck, we even said in the paper that we're amicable to a long-term contract. Why would you say that? And I don't remember Putt Valley, I was in college, you guys were in high school, I was in college, but all right, just shut up.
But in all
I
seriousness,
was out of college, all right?
I really don't know what else.
Thank you very much.
I really don't know what else I can say to let you and your let me just finish. This board supports the police department. You know what? We're going to argue about dollars. Listen, we argue about it with the highway guys.
I
We
think
argue.
it's-
Wait, let me
it's-
just
it's
finish,
past
John.
dollars and
But you know what?
contract. It's more of a-
But you know what, John? It's because for whatever reason there's a lack of trust. But you know what? This board supports you guys, and you know the devil that you know, but you don't know what you could. What follows us? Whenever that time, then you might need to worry. Right now, you don't need to worry. But hey, listen.
Outside of the
keep-
change
keep
that
go-
has occurred,
keep-
and I get it, it's changed.
You know, if we want to keep going on a route where we don't talk to each other, we pass you guys on the roads, you know, you don't say hello, or we don't. That's got to stop.
Hey, I wave all the time.
Yeah, but
Oh, I like
with-
how you
which,
wave,
which
John.
finger do you wave with, John?
If we all waved like that, you know.
But in all seriousness,
Susie the finger.
it's
Yeah,
got
you
to
waved to me
stop,
the other night, didn't you?
He waves nice.
I saw what your wave was.
guys.
Don't wave like
There's
that.
nothing
Do
else.
me a
There's
favor, I'd
nothing else
rather
I
you
can
not
say.
wave.
I mean, there's nothing else we can say. We support you. We support you. We support you. We support you. We support you.
I know.
If we don't get
Actions will
along,
start speaking
I got to
louder
tell
than
you.
words. I mean,
But John,
it's-
we've given actions. We've put it in the budget. We've hired. This is not the John. Wait. This is not the first time that we've given you guys new cars. Like, I don't know what you
I mean,
want.
I did wreck one to
Well,
get the new
well,
one, so.
I told him to give you
Insurance took
I
care of
told
that.
him to give you the oldest car we had, but he said you had some PBA nonsense going on. In any event,
That's like George Costanza, T-Bone, we're gonna call you
listen,
T-Bone.
the fact of the matter is, it's got to come from both sides. There's got to be a trust. I trust you guys to make sure that our town is safe, and I have no question in my mind. You got to trust that we support you. We do. But I can say it 100 times, but you know, if you don't want, if you guys don't want to believe me, that's fine. But you've worked with me personally. You've been to my home, to both homes. You've been there. Nothing I've ever told you has been incorrect. I've been straight with you. I've told you what it is. I helped create the special conditions units with the guys, with some of the guys who are here tonight. I've pushed for everything that you guys have had, all of us. John, we support you. Can we move on? And if we don't want to trust each other, that's your call. It's not mine, because I support you.
It'll be a
The public
slow
don't-
building process.
Well,
We'll get
John,
there.
I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, you know, but if we can't go on like this. Otherwise, you know what happens? Keep tearing it apart, and eventually you're going to be your own demise.
Like I said, 4 weeks, the academy starts, and
Don't ask me. Ask him. I've talked to him already 3 times about it.
I've
He's
talked to
already
him 2
vetted
times
guys.
today already.
Well,
I talk
and
to
what
him all
has he
the time.
told? And what has he told you?
Penance.
It's my cross to bear.
It's you know, we have enough going on in this town without an animosity that doesn't need to be there. So you're PBA president, and by the way, you know, I don't know if anybody goes to Mahopac High School. Once a week, my son wears his number 23 Carmel PBA basketball shirt, black, number 23.
23. Yeah.
Is that Frank's old
Well, that's
number?
Frank, that's,
No, not, it's not somebody's number. It was just on the
Oh.
basketball team. He
It's
happened
your
to be
number,
number
right?
23. All right, well, there you go. It's
Well,
a
that's his
tribute,
number.
it's a tribute to you. See? Say thank you to my son. All right?
He
Enough.
says thank
Let's,
you.
all right, let's
anything
go.
else, anything else?
It's, we did 53 in an hour,
Yeah.
and we ended an hour ago. And we're going over the same stuff.
And we have
And
announcements.
over.
All right, so are we breaking bread again?
Well, we'll talk about that
Are we,
at breaking bread.
I think you said in
Listen.
4 weeks. I think that's what I heard was in 4 weeks, right?
listen,
We'll break bread in 4 weeks.
you know what? There's one guy that I'm going to ask you guys to give your 100% and complete support to. And that's your chief over there. All right,
So, honey.
all right, can we do that? I know you do, all right, but that's the guy, he's your chief, and he needs to understand that you guys are supporting him. All right. Is there any other members of the public that would like to come up? I don't think there are, but I have to ask. No? You, chief? No? All right.
Chicken.
All right. All right, we have a couple of announcements to make. The Christmas tree pickup is beginning by AAA Carting and Rubbish Removal and R&S Waste. I just want to read the dates that the trees will be picked up. Mondays and Thursdays collection. If you have a Monday or Thursday collection, the tree pickup will be on January 12th. If you have a Tuesday or Friday collection, the tree pickup will be on January 19th. So for AAA Carting, who picks up the bulk of the town, all private residents in the community, if you have AAA, which I think you do, your tree needs to be out at the curb. If you have Mondays and Thursday collection, the tree will be picked up on January 12th. Tuesday or Friday collection is what I have. The tree has to be out on January 19th, and they will pick it up. Just leave it out at the curb. Do not place trees in plastic bags or totes. All trees must be free of lights, tinsel, and ornaments. If you have R&S waste, if you have a dumpster pickup, place your Christmas tree on the side of the dumpster. If you have curbside pickup, place your Christmas tree at the curb. Do not place trees in plastic bags, once again, free of lights, tinsel, and ornaments. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Mike at R&S Waste, 914-378-0100, extension 1829. If you have any questions regarding AAA's Christmas tree pickup, you could call AAA at 845-628-5000, and somebody there will help you with your question. That's regarding the AAA Christmas tree pickup and R&S. Does anybody else have any announcements they want to make tonight? Jonathan, Frank, Susie, any announcements, other than you're running for assembly?
Oh, I didn't know I could say that. Thanks.
Yeah, you could say it. Yeah, Susie has officially announced that she's running for New York State Assembly
Yep.
in Assembly District 94. 94. So you'll see Susie out and about during her campaign, and Susie's done an excellent job for the town of Carmel as a councilwoman for the past 6 years. All right, we'd hate to lose her, but I know she'd do an excellent job as a New York State Assemblywoman. So congratulations, best of luck, Susie, and I know you'll do a great job in your campaign.
Thanks.
I'm not sure if I was allowed to do that, but I did,
Yeah.
so. Best of luck, Susie.
Use of power and authority.
All right, we do have executive session tonight with Glenn Drosy, our assessor, and his assistant Scott McMillan. So we're going to close the meeting from executive session. We're not coming back out to close, but I do need a motion to go in. So moved by Councilman Schneider. Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. All right, good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you here next week, January 13th for Town Board. Is it a work session?
Yeah, it's going to be work.
Yeah, Town Board work session, January 13th. Good night, everyone. Be well. See you next time.